Hi guys, welcome. It's Cameron Walker, your favorite Huntsville realtor, and today I'm bringing you a video about the pros and cons of new construction in and around Huntsville. I know with the influx of people coming to Huntsville and people looking to move up into new homes, while we're in a low inventory environment, new construction has become an outlet for many people, so I wanted to dive into it, talk to you about the good, the bad, and the ugly going on with new construction in Huntsville. Let me start out by saying I'm actually a big proponent of new construction. While I am going to go over some of the cons, I myself worked for 5 years in new construction as both a builder sales rep and as a builder lender. I've bought 2 new construction homes myself, and I currently have 5 new construction homes under contract and probably 2 more about to come down the pipe. So like I said, I'm pretty a big proponent of it, but I also have had clients and friends that have suggested not going the new construction route for a variety of reasons, and really it just comes down to whether or not the pros outweigh the cons, whether new construction is right for you. So let's dive into the pros and see what's going on. Pro number 1 is availability. In a limited inventory environment like we're in, it's hard to find homes. So right now on the market in our MLS, there's 250 new construction homes in the Madison area, or Madison County, and another 80 or so in Limestone County, the adjoining county. And I know for a fact there's quite a few homes that aren't on the MLS yet. So we're looking at well over 300 homes that are available for purchase, and they range in size, location, and price. So right out of the gate, we have more availability there in new construction than we do have on the resale market in most cases. This is really starting at about $250,000 and above. I'm not aware of any new construction right now that's under $250,000. And if there is, it's certainly not on the MLS. Pro number 2 is financing. And this is really a two-parter. The first part of financing is if you're in the resale market right now, sellers are really misinformed about different financing options. Whether it's their agent, friends, family members, or coworkers, they're telling them to accept or decline offers based on the financing type when there may be other better offers available, but just because the financing type doesn't match what they're looking for, they're declining those offers. They're really selling themselves short, they're getting bad advice, but it is what it is. Now, when it comes to new construction, they don't care what type of financing you have, so long as you have a solid pre-approval. So for folks looking on FHA loans, grant programs, or even no down payment programs like VA and USDA, those are all available through new construction right now. And once again, they're not going to decide to accept or decline your offer based on the financing type. So it gives you a leg up there. The second part of this is most builders have a preferred lender. I was one myself when I worked in the new construction space, so I really understand how it all works. Basically, the builder gives you an incentive, usually towards your closing costs, to use a preferred lender of theirs. The reason they have this relationship, that lender understands how to underwrite new construction homes and can protect the builder from putting hundreds of thousands of dollars into the ground for a new home that won't be able to go to closing. Now, as an agent, I don't really care what the builder's loan program is. I want you to get the best loan for you and not for the builder. So in general, I recommend that you apply with the builder's preferred lender, see what options they have and how those incentives could help, but then continue to shop around. I know of at least one lender in town that has a program where they match the builder incentives. So right out of the gate, you've got 2 options rather than just one. And you can see who has the best rate, who has the best rate lock terms, and see what works best for you. Number 3 is the variety of homes available. In a low inventory market, it's hard to find homes with styles, things like that you're looking for. But with new construction, and especially because it's spread all over the county, there's quite a variety of homes available. There's smaller patio style homes, townhomes, and large estate style homes. But even within that, there's different types of new construction. There's production homes. These are your typical neighborhoods where everybody has kind of the same size home, same size lot. And even with that, there's some variety. You could do a to-be-built home where you get to select the lot, the floor plan, color options like flooring, cabinet, countertops. Or you could do a spec home. That's a home where the builder's already pulled the permit with the county, and they may or may not have started construction, but they don't have a buyer yet. Now, there's a little variety even within that. Sometimes if the builder's not so far along yet, you may still be able to pick out options like flooring, cabinets, and countertops. But you're not going to be able to make structural changes like bump outs, adding bedrooms or bathrooms, or a fireplace. Those things have already been predetermined. What's cool about spec homes is they can be ready anywhere from today, a month from now, a couple months out, even up to 6 months out. Whereas if you're going to build from the ground up, I'd say you're looking anywhere from 8 to 12 months in most cases. The other option would be like semi-custom or custom homes. These are where you get to truly select your own floor plan, maybe even go out and buy your own lot. It gets a lot more complicated than I can go to in one video. Just know those options are totally out there. People are doing them every day. You're used to say about 12 months for a custom home build. I would say 12 months at the minimum now. You're probably looking at closer to 18 months, and that's just due to labor shortages and supply shortages. And that's going to be a factor throughout all of new construction. All right, pro number 4 is going to be location. We have new builds all over Madison County, Limestone County, and even the surrounding counties. So there's somewhere you're looking to live, be it a school district, a certain commute from work, or any other thing that helps you pinpoint a location on a map. More than likely, there's going to be some new construction in that area. It really comes down to, is it in your budget, and do they have the style of homes that you're looking for? There's also a lot of new development going on. So development predates the construction by a year to 2 years. Developers have to come in, work the land, bring in the roads and the utilities. So just because you don't see something being built in that area you're looking at today doesn't mean it won't be starting tomorrow or 6 months from now. So you want to keep an eye out for new developments coming up, as those are happening pretty frequently, because we're hitting that time frame where developers started to put in the work 2 years ago and now they're ready to start building. All right, pro number 5 is timing. As I mentioned earlier, there's a variety of homes and locations. There's also a variety of timelines. And I've kind of touched on this in each one of the pros, but I wanted to go into it a little more specifically. So with timing, whether you're moving here from out of the area or you're moving up into a nicer, newer home from a local perspective, timing is really important. I get it, whether it's school districts, jobs, whatever it may be, your lease ending, you've got to time the purchase of the home with your needs. And because there's so much new construction and so many homes available, typically there's a home that's desirable for you in your price range, and the timing will line up. Now, going back to something I've mentioned a couple times too, not all homes are on the MLS when it comes to new construction. So this is where it's really key to have an agent that's tied in with new construction. As I mentioned earlier, I have 5 under contract. 3 of those are not on the MLS yet. And we needed to find something that worked with my client's timing. So I called around, spoke to the different builders, found the homes that weren't on the market yet, and we were able to get them under contract. This prevented somebody else from getting them out from underneath us and allowed my clients to time the settlement of their home with their moving needs. So I can do the same for you. We just have to call around, find out what's the right fit. And so when you and I talk, we'll go over those kind of details. Pro number 6 is one of my favorites. It's the contingencies. The last couple of years, if you've been following any threads online or talking to anybody about buying a home or watching the news, you've heard people are waiving contingencies left and right. And it is absolutely happening. People are waiving financing contingencies. They're waiving appraisal contingencies, home inspection, what have it, because they're looking to get that seller's attention and be competitive in a high multiple offer situation. When you go the route of new construction, you don't have to give away your contingencies. You can keep them all intact, things like your financing, appraisal, and home inspection contingency. It's really cool because that helps you throughout the process and protects you as the buyer. And when it comes to the home inspection, I think that's one of the biggest ones. Even with new construction, you want to make sure that build quality is correct, especially if you're going to be in that home a long time. You don't want issues cropping up down the road. So when you schedule a home inspector on new construction, I always recommend having them come out at least twice. Once before the drywall and insulation go in, because then they can see all the electrical, plumbing, ductwork, and structural features of the home. Then have them come out again another week or 2 before closing. Then they're going to see the finished product, and they're going to see the finished touches and make sure all those conduits and connections are taken care of. So I think between the two, that's probably the best course of action. You could have them come out more frequently, but that might be a little overkill and it might not be cost effective for you. All right. Pro number 7 is the warranties. It used to be really common practice for us as buyers agents to force the seller to provide a home warranty during the negotiation process. If they weren't going to make certain repairs, or even if they did, we wanted the buyer to have a home warranty to protect them in the event of any appliance failure in the future. That really went out the window last year. It was really hard to get one. Now here recently, I have been able to negotiate in a couple of home warranties from the sellers. But when you build new, almost 100% of the time, you're going to have a set of warranties. And there's a vast array of them, and not all builders are cut from the same cloth. Some service their own warranties. Some outsource it to another company. Some use even the same home warranty companies you would use on a resale. But typically what you're going to see is a 10-year structural warranty. So that's going to cover your load-bearing walls, roof trusses, foundation, things of that nature. You may see a 2 or 5 year for subsystems like electrical, HVAC ductwork, plumbing, things of that nature. And then generally 1 to 2 years if you're talking appliances. And appliances are going to include your HVAC, your water heater, and your kitchen appliances. Some of those warranties can be extended by you, the homeowner, once you take ownership of it. Some of them, they force you to register. So anytime you're going through a new build and you get into the section on warranties, you really need to pay attention, take notes, take video, so that you know right after you close what steps you need to take to register products to make sure those warranties are in effect. What else is really cool about the warranties is, especially with the structural ones, as they're generally longer, let's say 5 years down the road, you get a job offer somewhere else and you decide to relocate. Those warranties are typically transferable to the new owner. So when you put your home on the market, that's something you can market it with, and it makes it really desirable for somebody else and differentiates your home from another on the market. All right, I think that's going to cover most of the pros. I mean, there's so many more, but it's really going to be situation specific. I'm going to talk a little bit about the cons so we can get a balanced, look at what new construction is. So let's dive right in. All right, con number 1 is going to be build quality. There's been a mad rush to new construction over the last couple of years, a lot higher demand than there used to be. This put a lot of pressure on the builders for their labor, their lumber, their suppliers, things of that nature. And some have taken advantage of the situation. They're building with lower quality materials, thinner siding, thinner brick, 20-year shingles as opposed to 30-year architectural, things of that nature. The workmanship just isn't there, or they aren't standing behind the workmanship. They're really fighting homeowners on warranty items that, 3-4 years ago easily would have been covered. So rest assured, in this market, we're not a huge market. Those of us agents that work in new construction and assist clients, we know who the builders are that are building bad quality. We've been through those homes. We've seen the shortcuts they've taken. We've had clients walk away or what have you. And then we all powwow and talk together. I'm not going to throw any names out in a video because I'm not looking to get sued, but just rest assured, I'm not going to direct you towards a builder that has a bad reputation in the market for build quality, whether that be the workmanship, the quality, or them standing behind their warranties. All right, number 2 con is going to be the prices. Like everywhere, prices have continued to increase. The value of land's gone up, the value of homes, but also construction material and labor costs have gone up. And they went up very significantly last year. Thankfully, we've seen that temper a bit over the last 6 months, but just know last year in late spring, it really skyrocketed. And different builders approach this different ways. They're always going to pass that cost along to the end buyer, the homeowner, but there's different ways of doing it, and there's ways that are more or less ethical. So let's talk about that. If you're building from the ground up, some builders are going to put in an escalation clause, and this can be anywhere from 5 to 10% of the build cost of the home, essentially saying like, okay, if our cost increase, then we're going to increase the end cost to you, purchase price of the home, by anywhere from 5 to 10%. Now, they're not going to give you an itemized pricing and say, okay, lumber went up by X% and labor went up by 1%. So if you add those together, they're not going to do that. I've had clients ask, I've seen other agents have clients ask, and the builders, they're not legally obligated to provide that, and they won't. So it's a little bit built on trust, which is not in high supply right now either. So just know if you have an escalation clause, you're going to want to factor that in and just start out from the worst case scenario. If they say it could go up to 10%, in your mind, think 10% higher for the purchase price of that home, then be pleasantly surprised if and when it comes in lower. The other way, and the way I prefer, is builders that take periodic base price increases. So they may only be allowed to sell 5 homes per month, and that's just due to their land situation and what their production managers can handle and their subcontractors can handle. So they'll sell 5 homes, and then they'll raise their base prices the next month and sell 5 more, and so on and so forth. If you know the builders that do this, that's awesome, because you can time your purchase to take advantage of not getting that built-in price increase. And so long as they continue to do so, they're adding equity to your home. If you buy a $350,000 house whose base price was, say, $330,000, and you had $20,000 in options, and 4 months later somebody buys an identical house and it's now worth, say, $370,000 or $380,000, you have built-in equity when you go into closing. And that's phenomenal, and that is something that just about everybody in new construction has been experiencing, unless they have those escalation clauses. And with the market being as hot as it is, even with the escalation clauses, you're gaining equity pretty quickly thereafter. So just know that those builders do reserve the right to change the price at any time up into the point of contract. So if you're trying to weigh all your options and you're thinking it over, that builder could take a $5,000 price increase in the next day before you get in to buy that home. So just bear that in mind. I've seen it happen. All right, con number 3 is interest rates. I know we talked a little bit about financing earlier, but this is something I'll dive a little more deeply into. The Fed just came out and said they're going to be raising their rates. They're going to do so slow and steady over the course of the next 18 months or so. When the Fed raises their rates, mortgage rates are soon to follow. And so if you're building new and it takes you anywhere from 6 months to 12 months or 18 months to build a home, you now have what's called interest rate risk. You're going to see rising interest rates during that time frame. So we need to talk about ways to mitigate those risks. And finding a lender that offers a long-term rate lock is advisable. If you're buying a home that's a resale home and you're going to settle in 30 to 45 days, typically that lender is going to lock you in as soon as they get the contract. They do have some cases, 15-day rate locks, what have you, but most lenders are just going to lock you right in. But that's not the case with new construction. You know, interest rates ebb and flow over time, and some people like to do what's called float and let their interest rate hang out there, not fixed, until closer to the time that they're going to closing. Right now, with the way things look, that may not be advisable. You want to talk to the lender and see what their long-term rate lock options are and see if that's the right fit for you. And as you're shopping around lenders, you want to look into A, do they offer long-term rate locks, and B, what are the costs associated with it. That way you're comparing apples to apples amongst lenders as you're shopping around for your best interest rate. All right, con number 4 is timing. Just like it's a pro where we were talking about there's a variety of homes available with different timelines, it can also be a con if you're looking for something very specific where you have a tight timeline. The more must-haves you have, the less inventory there's going to be it new construction or existing homes. And because it does take homes so long to build right now, even if you go in and custom select it, it's going to be 8 months to a year out before you move into that home. So as you're looking around, we definitely need to start earlier in the process if you have a lot of must-haves. If your thing is just school zone, number of bedrooms and bathrooms, and you'll take what you can get in your price range, that's not going to be too hard to find. But if you have a lot of features in the home, you want a certain style of the home, certain features within it, you want to be in a certain school district or commute to work or surroundings, the more things you tack onto that must-have, which is absolutely cool, just understand that you're lengthening your timeline just due to the shortage in inventory, okay? It's more unlikely that we will find that home that's immediately available or going to be there in 4 to 6 months than it is that we're going to find one we have to build. We'll still be able to find it, it's just we got to time it right. So we need to look into short-term leasing options or maybe even like a year lease, what have you, depending on your situation. Now, if you're coming into town, one of the best things you can do, like say you're doing a house hunting trip, give me a call a couple weeks in advance. Tell me exactly what you're looking for. And what I'll do is call around to the different builders or go visit them, find out what inventory they have, what's coming up, what's on the MLS or not on the MLS. And that way I can have the short list for you when you get here in town. Okay, that about sums it up. There's more pros and more cons than what I can go through in one video, and they're really going to be case by case and specific to your needs. So I'd love to sit down and have a conversation with you about it. Below in the description, you're going to see a link to the new construction in the area. This is not all the new construction. It's just to give you a taste of what's out there, what's available in different areas and price ranges. And remember, there's a lot of homes that aren't listed online. So when you're ready to start talking about it, my contact information is below in the description as well. Give me a call, shoot me an email. We can set up a time to talk, go over your individual needs, and help you find the perfect home. Thanks for watching.